In my yard, there is a type of ant that truly tops all ants I've ever seen, and even owned in my life. Introducing Asian weaver ants. They are by far some of the coolest, baddest, and most insanely adapted ants ever. And today, you are all going to get a chance to witness one of the greatest things about these ants: how they feed. They eat insects they manage to hunt and seize. They love their sweets. They collect edible scraps, including random things like bird poop, and even eat bad invasive ants. But I think the coolest part of today's video is how the ants reacted to me feeding them a superworm, many times their size, and the action-packed struggle between Superworm and ants that ensued. The footage will truly blow your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, gather round and get ready to ascend into the trees as we take a peek into the amazing secret lives of our friends, the weaver ants, here on the AntsCanada Ant Channel. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Welcome to the AC family. Enjoy! AC family, last week I did a live stream where I actually fed a weaver ant nest a superworm. But I felt the video footage from my cell phone just didn't do the ants justice. So for this week's video, I wanted to take you up close and personal and feed the weaver ants a superworm again so you could truly appreciate their epicness, as well as take a look at what makes these ants super unique from most regular ants: their leaf basket nests that they build in the trees using silk from their young. It's all mind-blowing stuff, so stay tuned for all of that coming up. So let's meet the weaver ants in my yard, shall we? If you're new to ants, these are the world-famous weaver ants. Scientific name, Echophila smaragdina. Right now they're going about their morning ritual of bringing food to their nest. The night brings plenty of dead ants, like this little winged insect, which probably recently mated and reached the natural end of its multi-week life. Weaver ants are great at sweeping the grounds of dead insects like this, making them important scavengers in the ecosystems they're part of. Every morning, I love watching the weaver ants carry food to their nests, and I often feed the weavers a little of my leftover breakfast near their foraging trails, to watch them carry the little bits. Have a look at how cute they are as they cooperatively carry pieces of egg and rice to their nest. By the way, speaking of rice for breakfast, in case any of you were wondering, I currently live in Southeast Asia. Moved out here from Canada back in 2011. It's why this channel is called AntsCanada, despite most of the ants featured on this channel being tropical ants from Southeast Asia. But nevertheless, nothing can take the Canadian out of a Canadian. Oh, weaver ants, how about a tiny bit of what we Canadians call sirop d'érable, un produit du Canada, aka true Canadian maple syrup. Adding a blob here. Let's see if they like it. Okay, looks like they're not interested in foreign food, I see. Too exotic for your palate, eh? Alright. When carrying solid food back to the nest, sometimes the weaver ants are pretty ambitious with the size of chunks they decide to bring back home. Check out how huge this piece of egg is. It requires some pretty coordinated teamwork to bring something this size home. And you gotta remember, to the ants, this piece of egg, which is many times heavier than the ants, is like carrying a huge buffalo back home upside down. Now watch as the ants cooperatively manage to transfer the huge piece of egg from the fence to the tree. This will truly blow you away. And success! That very risky move required some pretty intense coordination. Good job, weaver ants. See, this is the kind of Spartan-type activity these ants do on the daily. Now here's something that you guys will love. You may have noticed how the ants prefer carrying larger pieces of food hanging upside down. As you can imagine, This feat requires great leg and jaw strength. And it just so happens, these weaver ants have some of the strongest legs and jaws in the ant game. Which is why it's easier for the ants to hang and move than lift and move. They actually need this leg and mandible power for the building of their nests. Which brings us now to the awesome architecture of their mind-blowing leaf basket nests in the trees. AC family, behold one of the weaver ant leaf nests in my yard. As you can see, it's in essence a huge ball of leaves, all glued together with silk. Within this leaf basket nest lives the weaver ant colony. It's truly amazing how they create these leaf basket nests. Each of those leaves were pulled into place with just the leg and mandible force of the weaver ants. While other workers, which I like to call the gluers, come in and use their mature larvae to spin silk to glue the leaves together. It's how they get their name weaver ants. Once hardened, the silk becomes a waterproof, breathable wall. It's truly amazing to think that millions of years ago, somewhere along the evolutionary lineage of these ants, they somehow started to use the larval silk, which in most ordinary ants is used for cocoon building, to build their leaf nests. What makes these leaf nests even more ingenious architecturally is that the leaves are still alive, which means the entire tree is still transpiring, meaning it's releasing water vapor from its stomata. In this way, these basket nests are perfectly humidified at all times. And, on top of that, the leaves take in carbon dioxide exhaled by the ants and release a fresh and constant supply of oxygen. So the ants have premium air inside their nests. The weaver ants even have strategic ventilation openings in the leaf nests that point downward, so water doesn't seep in, but allows for a good airflow in and out of the nest. Basically guys, these weaver ants are genius-level architects and engineers in the trees they inhabit. Now I've been able to film the inside of these weaver ant nests only in captivity, when they were gracious enough to build their leaf nests against the glass. Basically, tons of brood rooms organized by age, and just a spectacular sight to behold. Now I should mention that eventually the leaves die due to not getting sunlight, so the weaver ants need to either constantly pull new leaves in on the outside to add layers to their leaf nest, or just build a totally new nest at another location of the tree. Here's an example of an old weaver ant nest that was abandoned due to dead leaves. The silk still holds some of the leaves together, but the silk eventually breaks down, as the ants aren't around to fortify and add new layers to the silk walls. Now some of you may be wondering about the queens of these ants. Prepare to be mind blown again, guys. When I owned weaver ants, the queens truly blew my mind. Weaver ants are capable of having multiple queens in a single colony. And their colors come in lime green, blue-green, to yellow, to brown, to combinations of all of the above. Truly some of the most beautiful ants in the world, if you ask me. What do you guys think? Alright guys, and now that you guys have seen and witnessed all the amazing things about the weaver ant lifestyle, we've now come to the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's feed the weaver ants a superworm. I think you guys will truly love this. Grabbing a superworm from my stash, after crushing its head, it's now time to hand over the delicious goods. AC family, are you ready? Here we go. I moved the superworm close to the weaver ant nest so the workers could get a better hold of it. I knew I had to be careful because if I lost my balance and fell into the tree, I'd surely be riddled with weaver ant bites and stinging formic acid. And grabbed. The moment I thought it would be an easy exchange, like in last week's livestream, the superworm, despite having its head crushed, began to struggle. Ah! The weaver ants immediately sprung into action. As the beast superworm continued to struggle and fling the ants away, the weaver ants released the pheromonal alarm, which prompted more weaver ants to emerge from the nest to help seize the struggling superworm. I knew this superworm could drop free at any moment. I held my breath as I watched the ants battle it out, in a heart-stopping power struggle with this huge superworm. Weaver ants came pouring out of the opening and gathering around the superworm to help keep it under control. With their powerful jaws and legs, the ants instinctively began to pull the superworm from all corners. Doing this ensures the prey insect doesn't get away, nor struggle while it proceeds to die from the ants' formic acid sprays and exhaustion. A huge group of weaver ants crowded around the superworm to hold it securely in place while it died, as the entire tree swayed in the wind. Eventually, the superworm had ceased all struggling, and the ants began to bring pieces of the superworm's exposed flesh into the nest. When the ants feel satisfied that the superworm is dead enough, they will then proceed to carry it into the nest. But for now, it was important that the ants waited for the superworm to weaken and die first. Because if they choose to bring the superworm into the nest prematurely, all that flailing earlier could have posed a serious danger to the colony within, or damage the nest walls. It's a very smart protocol to always wait for all prey to die, or at least amply weaken, prior to bringing it into the lair. My ant-loving heart was full, knowing that the weavers were going to benefit greatly from this superworm offering. It would soon be further broken down to nourish the growing weaver ant colony within. Now, AC family, wasn't that cool? I feel quite lucky to have such amazing ants living in my yard to watch and even keep as pets. Though I currently don't own a weaver ant colony, due to having to release mine back into the wild back when my city was in lockdown, and I had to vastly downsize my collections. But the good news is, I do plan on keeping weaver ants again when we move to the new ant house, which should be within the next 2 months or so. So AC family, do be sure to be part of the ant fun and subscribe to join our ever-growing AC family, because this is not the last we'll be seeing of these truly incredible ants, which to me are like the Amazons of the ant world. No matter where you live, I find it's important to stop and take a look at the little creatures, like ants, that share the space you inhabit. Because once you get to see and learn how amazing their lives are, the more we get inspired to take care of our environment and understand how we are only a piece of a huge tapestry of life on an amazing planet we share and call home. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting the ants. It's Ant Love forever.